The ends justify the means. Politics have no relation to morals. Men in general judge more by the sense of sight than by the sense of touch, because everyone can see but few can test by feeling. Entrepreneurs are simply those who understand that there is little difference between obstacle and opportunity, and are able to turn both to their advantage. It is much safer to be feared than loved because love is preserved by the link of obligation which, owing to the baseness of men, is broken at every opportunity for their advantage. But fear preserves you by a dread of punishment which never fails. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. A return to first principles in a republic is sometimes caused by the simple virtues of one man. His good example has such an influence that the good men strive to imitate him, and the wicked are ashamed to lead a life so contrary to his example. Of mankind we may say in general they are fickle, hypocritical, and greedy of gain. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. Men are so simple and yield so readily to the desires of the moment that he who will trick will always find another who will suffer to be tricked. Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. There is no avoiding war. It can only be postponed to the advantage of others. War should be the only study of a prince. He should consider peace only as a breathing time, which gives him leisure to contrive and furnishes as ability to execute military plans. The fact is that a man who wants to act virtuously in every way necessarily comes to grief among so many who are not virtuous. God is not willing to do everything, and thus take away our free will and that share of glory which belongs to us. Men ought either to be indulged or utterly destroyed, for if you merely offend them, they take vengeance, but if you injure them greatly, they are unable to retaliate, so that the injury done to a man ought to be such that vengeance cannot be feared. Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great. He who is prudent and lies in wait for an enemy who is not, will be victorious. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. Hatred is gained as much by good works as by evil. Since it is difficult to join them together, it is safer to be feared than to be loved when one of the two must be lacking. Men rise from one ambition to another. First they seek to secure themselves against attack, and then they attack others. Of mankind we may say in general they are fickle, hypocritical, and greedy of gain. The one who adapts his policy to the times prospers, and likewise that the one whose policy clashes with the demands of the times does not. For the great majority of mankind are satisfied with appearances, as though they were realities, and are often more influenced by things that seem than by those that are. Entrepreneurs are simply those who understand that there is little difference between obstacle and opportunity, and are able to turn both to their advantage. Nature creates few men brave. Industry and training makes many. There is no surer sign of decay in a country than to see the rights of religion held in contempt. Men in general judge more by the sense of sight than by the sense of touch, because everyone can see but few can test by feeling. I'm not interested in preserving the status quo. I want to overthrow it. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. The promise given was a necessity of the